This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
Drunk in love, losing our sight.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. Hey, if you're one of those YouTube listeners with not a very long attention span, this is when we can happily lose you because you've been listening for 30 seconds. Okay, we got a guest here. You, thing in the chair across from me. yeah, you're a completely unvetted guest. Other than the fact that you're dressed like edible matter, what brings you on to this important workplace comedy show that exploded on YouTube and all the internet sound sharing sites after Nizuki, the neuronurse, appeared last week?
Workplace food theft.
Oh, yeah, there is an epidemic. Chips top the list and nuts come in at 17%. All wrongfully eating food in the workplace.
It is my duty to stop workplace food theft in its tracks.
Well, you are a real superhero then.
Hero, yes. Super, no. I am just your average sandwich with lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, and olives.
What about the meat selections?
Why do you always drive this into the ground with a reference to Rhemus Helms thing? You don't think I've got it. You don't think I measure up to Rhemus Helms.
Look, few people measure up to Rhemus Helms. Quite possibly few want that sort of the thing, which isn't exactly for everybody.
Aren't you gonna ask what kind of meat I have inside?
I thought that was beyond your comfort zone.
I am a sandwich. You can see between my bread.
You know, I was trying to be discreet and not look. But you come in here, cut in half, and then each half of your buns is cut in half.
Of course I am cut.
I thought we weren't going to get any of that Rhemus Helms talk.
Can't you see the baloney sticking out?
I better have to stop this. They're going to start censoring everything.
My name is... I live at... I am... years old.
They're not censoring us. You liked... it's not happening because down the road, then it would be the laws, employment laws. Do you understand?
You've made your point very clear.
Well, thank you.
My salami is sticking out too.
No more of that. We're going to get censored again.
I am a hero.
Oh, I understand. A hero is the same thing as a sub sandwich.
Not New York. No sub sandwich.
I'd say you're about 7 inches.
I told you I don't measure up to Rhemus Helms.
Yeah, you're only half. On another note, I heard about a class action against one of the sandwich chains who sells 12 inchers, which are actually something like 11 and a half.
We're gonna see it starting again. Bricks. Harpsichord. I wish.
Me too.
Have you reviewed the qualifying rules for what constitutes a superhero?
I don't know. I guess you must be a certain length and width.
Something like that. But it's also based upon kills, captures, rescues, stops of plots to overthrow the world versus the universe and complete galaxies.
Should I add pickles?
There are things you could do to beef up your superhero appearance.
It might make a difference if I added onions.
Think vegetables. I bet there's a vegetable that would beef up your appearance.
Workplace food theft is at least a place to start.
What have you done in terms of captures, rescues, crime stoppages, ETL?
I capture, I rescue 36 criminal apprehensions and lots of crime stoppages.
How many rescues, crime stoppages, apprehensions, ETL have you done?
Something's wrong with this script.
You're the moron who wrote it.
Let's do a retake.
Okay.
Do you believe workplace food theft is the biggest problem in the 2019 workplace?
My grandmother said she stopped drinking coffee. Have you ever met an old lady who switches to Lipton iced tea? Well, I have. And let me tell you, all she does anymore is drink pee. How do I say? Get the tea out of her system.
All right, we're going to do a retake.
I can't explain it the same way again. Seriously, I don't want to say anything bad about my grandmother, but she is totally laying off the jitterbug phone. Just get a Samsung 10 or iPhone.
My question was, do you believe the ringworm epidemic can be stopped by cleansing playground sand?
I didn't know you were so funny telling the joke about the man without teeth. That is a very good joke.
I didn't make a joke about a man without teeth.
Maybe we should retake this. Let's start at the beginning.
All right. I was born at the UCLA hospital. I lived in Los Angeles my entire life, except for that period of time I lived in Orange County as a kid. And all those days in Oxnard, who could ask for anything more?
Did you tell a joke about a man without teeth?
No. I asked if you believe workplace food theft is the biggest problem confronting the workplace in 2019.
You did? When did you say that?
I said I was wondering if you believed workplace food theft was the biggest problem confronting the workplace in 2019.
Since you're a workplace lawyer, I have a question for you.
Go right ahead and ask, since my question is being ignored.
Here's my question, Mr. Gerber. Do you believe workplace food theft is the biggest workplace problem confronting the workplace in 2019? Do you? Huh?
Funny, I think that's the question I originally asked.
You ain't gonna answer my question, smarty pants, are you? You're gonna withhold all that workplace legal expertise you have.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do you think I should add pickles?
No, I don't think workplace food theft is the biggest problem confronting the workplace in 2019. I think wage and hour lawsuits in general continue to be.
Why the fentanyl? Did you just say so in the first place?
What? That you should add pickles to your whole sandwich demeanor?
Pickles? Who said anything about pickles?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
I said, aren't you listening? I said, should I add pickles to my sandwich demeanor?
Did you say something? I think I missed that.
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
What's going on?
We're both experiencing auditory problems. Let me make an adjustment to my autogram.
What's an autogram?
My powers involve being able to hear. I can hear what's going on across the street right now at Lion Country Safari.
We're in Culver City.
We are.
In addition to the fact that Lion Country Safari used to be in Irvine, which is about 47.4 miles from here, it hasn't existed since 1984.
No.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Some big ferocious animal was making a lot of noise. Take a number?
Take a number.
Why?
If you ever want your sandwich, you better take a number.
Who is first in line?
You are.
Fine, but I don't want a sandwich.
You're number 577.
You say so.
The guy in the bathroom, I think he lives there, just ordered a cookie. He's number 12.
I believe the small mermaid over there controlling the boombox just ordered Dancing Squid.
Dancing squid, very serious delicacy, number 11.
Excuse me, but why are the later order than me getting earlier numbers?
What your number?
577. White people have a number below me.
Number 11. Dancing squid ready. Fresh keel. Muscles still work. No brain. You want soy sauce?
Of course I want some soy sauce. How else is the dead squid going to dance?
Number 12. Ready for bathroom boy. I'm cookie for cookie party, you see.
Can we forget the sandwich? If you're making cookies like that, I don't want anything to do with this outfit.
You think they liked our gag?
No, it probably offended all sorts of people.
Oh, that wasn't my intention. Gee, we Just testing material.
I've been meaning to ask you, other than the hero work you do you earn a living walking around looking like a sub-hero grinder, whatever sandwich?
I put some ads on Craigslist. Not too much of a response. I guess not too many people are hiring superheroes. They say most problems can be solved with a needle and thread, if not with styrofoam gloves and radishes.
All right, you're listening to Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. I don't know what's going on here. It's a sandwich in here. It's weird. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. When we come back, maybe it will make more sense. If you have a real workplace problem, I'd like to hear from you at 877-525-0700. Once again, that's 877-525-0700 if you're working in a sandwich store and they give you the wrong pickles and you get fired over it. I don't know. 877-525-0700 if you've been accused of looking like a sandwich and you find that insulting. All right, this is Talk Radio 790 KABC, Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. Talk Radio 790 KABC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real lawyer, and we're not drunk as we're doing this episode. There's just been a couple mishaps, guys. This is a live show. So coming back, we've got a sandwich here. He really looks like a sandwich. It's weird. I think Rhemus Helms sent him. And I'm wondering, Mr. Sandwich, or Hero, as you say, have you advertised anywhere other than Craigslist to try to get some work?
I've run some ads on Google. Wiu labado, mucho dinero, degenerate.
You couldn't have said it better.
Between Facebook and Google ads, I was spending $1,500 a week.
Did it go anywhere?
Would you believe I got called to do 2 kids' birthday parties? The nerve of those hair-straightened, eyebrow-plucked moms in Mar Vista.
You were really put out with them thinking you were just a costumed actor, I bet.
What did you say?
You were really put out with the moms thinking you were just a costume actor?
I can hear you.
I'm moving right along.
Sorry, there was a delay. Yeah, the nerve of those moms thinking I was a costumed actor.
Well, aren't you?
I've got superpowers. Powers, maybe not super. Maybe more of a curse. I mean, kind of a disability, really.
What condition are you referring to?
Wait, there's a delay. Order number 577 is ready.
No sandwich, please. Not in front of you. I'm not eating that.
You ordered a sandwich? I've got fried chicken, liver, and mayonnaise with Pringle chips on the side.
Yeah, we've joked around. They let you test your material. We got to get down to plastic nails.
Excuse me?
We have to get down to plastic nails and deal with your employment and labor problem.
Labor? I am not going into labor. Am I? Oh, please stand by. I am waiting for my signal.
What would happen if you are going into labor?
I have absolutely no idea.
Is there an employment problem, a job problem, or is your beef, and excuse the pun since you're made up of bologna and salami, is the beef your employer wants you to go in 97% fat-free?
Fat-free? Yes. Some people have suggested I go fat-free.
It's been fun talking and all, but I've got to start taking live callers with alleged employment problems, like somebody passed by and smirked at them, and they want to sue for punitive damages, but would settle for the measly sum of 6 to 10 million.
Okay, we can get down to plastic fingernails. Do you want to see mine?
I am so sorry. Maybe you can't work, being that you're a sandwich and all.
You think all I do is cavort around with bologna and salami in the middle of my buns all day? And night?
Brother, Boogsalicious, desacramento, desalinization. Oh, wait, yes, that's all I believe you do. The thing about sitting around with salami between your buns all day and night.
Behind all this lunch meat, there is an agitated accountant.
Oh, so the whole hero or superhero thing is just side work?
No. Ketchup, mustard, salt, and pepper to side work. Sugar, too, if it's on the table.
That's a waitress joke. What kind of accounting do you do?
I am in the food industry.
I never would have guessed.
Very funny. Actually, not really funny.
Are you just a consumption in the food industry, or is there more to the bite?
In order to eat my salami, you'd need the big bite.
Enough of these sandwich jokes, if they are even sandwich jokes.
I am not really in the food division of the food company, more in the business office. I really am an accountant.
What do you do? Like, throw pickles down with the 10-key punch?
Olives. Sometimes pepperoncinis.
Earlier you mentioned something about a disability, but then you said it might be a power?
Yeah, I have something, but I am not going to tell you what it is.
Remember, employers are not liable for that which they do not know about or should not know about based upon what they have been given notice of.
But lawyers are liable for what they don't know about, right?
If you want me to assess your workplace legal problem, I need to know what your power, I mean disability is.
Like, duh. Why would a hero disclose his power? I never understood how everybody found out that guy with the red cape, yellow logo, had some allergic reaction to kryptonite. Man, what a fool. I don't go around disclosing my powers.
Oh, you're a lot smarter than the bologna and salami inside your buns looks like.
That's why I've never been eaten.
Right.
Okay. Since this conversation is highly confidential, literally secret, and the attorney-client privilege applies, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's fine. We can pretend nobody is listening.
I forgot. You've got listeners at all the New Rue massage parlors, strip clubs, illegal card joints, opium dens, bingo parties, at churches, sub shops. Did I miss anything?
Everyone at Rhemus Helms Cosplay Ranch. Even all those people in this bed of his. How could you forget?
I don't really care if all those people listen. They're my closest friends. Even the ladies playing bingo for snuff.
Unfortunately, the attorney-client privilege sort of goes out the little opaque bathroom window when you're on a radio station that goes from Ventura to San Diego and reaches into the Inland Empire.
On this here station, are they going to broadcast the runoff results for the assistant dope waxer election in Hellhole Palms?
No, nobody really cares. That one woman, one man runoff has been going on for eons, and I believe it will continue unless one of us or one of my guests moves down there to Hellhole Palms and votes in that election.
Rancid lunch meats! I was dying to know if Alexandria Twalia Caesar wins this round.
With two people voting and those same two people being the ones running in the election, how can she win any round?
Maybe someone will make a mistake and vote for their opponent.
That would be great.
Something is coming in right now. I can hear it. Rancid lunch meats! There's going to be another runoff election on Mother's Day.
Gee, that's next week. Let's so not cover that runoff on this show.
Then I'll have to tune into the other AM station.
Wait a minute. What was coming in? I didn't hear anything.
It's my superpowers. I can hear all sorts of things.
Oh, this is embarrassing. Did you hear what I was saying to the security guard who let you back in after our last break?
You better find more paper towels. He's leaking Italian dressing.
odd. I do recall saying that.
I am on a RSS feed. There can be a delay. Sometimes I hear too much.
An RSS feed? You're a blogger?
Well, I get some of my information from RSS feeds.
You'd do better reading a hard copy newspaper.
You're not the only person who said that.
I'm not finding your ability to scan an RSS feed to be a superpower. The delayed hearing is weird, though. If that's possible, it could be a disability.
I don't think they fired me on account of my looks or my hearing. Well, sort of my hearing, but not my hearing. It's more what I heard.
What did you hear?
I have to go back from the beginning of the story to present you with all sorts of extraneous details you don't care about, you don't have time for, may mislead you in rendering a legal opinion, and are generally irrelevant.
You might be going through the whole sandwich prep, from the bread selection to the meats to the veggies. God, I hate it when they think it's all trendy to call vegetables veggies, like we're toddlers and there's some super sandwich maker.
Agreed. They could never make me.
Have I gone crazy? I'm talking to a life-size talking sandwich who claims he's an accountant.
What's so strange about that?
Oh, boy, there's a lot of strange things about that, people. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm a real workplace lawyer, although this show is kind of sketch comedy. Some shows are funnier than others. I encourage you to listen on YouTube. You can live stream on YouTube, too. It's the Karl Gerber channel, Karl with a K. You can catch up on all the episodes and hear about Rhemus Helms and all the crazy people we're talking about. But if you feel like calling me to talk about a real workplace legal matter, and that would be confidential, you can do that on the phone during business hours at 877-525-0700. If you have a case for workplace discrimination, a real disability discrimination case, 877-525-0700. We are all over California. I have about 15 offices in California. You can call 877-525-0700 for a real workplace lawyer for overtime cases, sexual harassment, class actions. I don't represent sandwiches, though. Sorry about that. So, when we come back, I hope to find out why this sandwich is here. Remember, the second half of these shows is when it really starts to get crazy. I'm just warning you. So I think we're going to hear something about toupees, and they might be ever growing. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.
You've got lettuce and tomatoes too, mayonnaise and cheese. You're the one for me.
Drunken love.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and unfortunately, I'm a real workplace lawyer, but I've got a sandwich on this show tonight, literally a sandwich, and I don't think this is a cosplay actor from Rhemus Helms Cosplay Ranch. You know, we've had a lot of weird guests on this show, and we did have people talking about aging who drank from the Venice canals in like 1970, 69. I think they were ex-hippies, and they never aged. It's just amazing. They're in their 70s, and they look like they're 25, 30 years old. So we've had a lot of weird guests here, but this is not normal. So he was telling me before we broke, he's an accountant. I don't understand how some sandwich could be in accounting, and you know, I guess there's really nothing strange about that. A lot of sandwiches claim they're accountants. Donuts, too, even bagels filled with cream cheese.
No, sir. There's no such thing as a donut who is an accountant.
Where exactly did you get your accounting degree?
CSUN, of course. That's where all the sandwiches go.
Ah, for a minute there, I thought you'd say LAVC.
No, that's no place for a sandwich.
Maybe more of the place for a croissant?
Maybe. But back to the matter on the cutting board. I was the chief accountant for Miserly Cakes and Pastas.
Why would anyone want a miserly cake? Do they exclude certain ingredients?
They have to. They have their share of gluten-free cakes, sugar-free too.
Presumably, this is a California employer. We're going to talk about California labor laws.
Yeah, they're in Bellflower right off of the 605 freeway.
Did you drive to work?
How else do you think I'd get here? In somebody's mouth?
No mouth can fit you. You're the size of an adult.
Have you heard of the Sandwich Islands?
Yes, in Polynesia. Tahiti is included. You do know I'm a member of the mid-century tiki societies.
I am from the Sandwich Islands.
Great.
I was only at Miserly Cakes and Pastas a little over a year. They brought me in due to the pasta merger. There was a lot of accounting over all those noodles.
Oh, how many noodles are we talking about?
Gosh, I've never counted. There were so many. Cake-shaped pasta, sandwich-shaped pasta, one pasta in the shape of Rhemus Helms thing, if you can believe that. Really gigantic penne, say about 14 inches long. And
You're making this up. You aren't describing miserly pasta.
Only the cakes were miserly.
Be it as it may, and I could care less. What happened at this miserly cake and weird-shaped pasta company?
They had to cover everything. I mean, physically cover everything like putting clothes on a sandwich. The owner had this weird obsession with truck fumes running the taste of his miserly tastes. Not only truck fumes, but all sorts of toxic pollutants. They've got the 91 and 605 freeway. They've got a lot of factories there, too. Like the mattress factory, the chair and sofa factory, and get this, and the cheesecake factory.
The mattress factory and the chair and sofa factory are retail stores. As to the cheesecake factory, I think you, of all, I can't say people would be sympathetic to their operation.
Yeah, whatever. He said we had to cover the miserly cakes and cooked pastas. Look, there's something else they made.
I can only imagine.
Toilet plungers.
Toilet plungers, miserly cakes, and weird-shaped pastas? These are distinct lines, nothing in common.
I tend to disagree. Toilet plungers have a lot in common with miserly cakes, and surely weird-shaped pastas has a lot in common with toilet plungers.
I sort of catch your hurricane.
I should also tell you that they have a testing facility.
What do they test? The limits of human decency? Sort of like this radio show?
All they test are their toilet plungers. They have to make sure they work before they sell them.
How do they test the plungers?
In toilet bowls, of course.
With or without clean water?
Duh. The only way to test the toilet plunger is when the toilet is plugged. Like, duh. Plunged with toilet paper, feces, litter.
Nobody wants to know. Did they have to cover the toilet plungers with plastic too, or whatever they do?
Absolutely. They didn't want the germs from the toilet plunger spreading to the miserly cakes and weird-shaped cookie pastas.
I take back what I said earlier about common decency.
I get it. It's dreadful. Do you know what they used to cover the miserly cakes, weird-shaped pastas, and toilet-tested plungers?
Let me guess. The same thin painter's plastic and Nizuki from last week's episode where they used to separate the Naru massage rooms?
If you can call that separation. I heard her admit her whole Nuru clinic sounds like an orgy.
Not that we need any more listeners to that particular episode because it went viral on all the internet sound sharing sites for podcasts, but you can go to the Karl Gerber channel on YouTube and listen to episode 54 or any old episode.
That's a very good idea. Listening to this show makes me feel Maybe I'm not so weird at all.
Let's not go that far, but what can I say with Rhemus Helms referring me most of my guess?
They weren't using painter's plastic at miserly cakes and pastas. Testing toilet plungers in actual real-life conditions is done through a separately incorporated LLC.
Then what were they using to cover the toilet plungers that had already been tested in the worst clogs known to Bellflower? Some hermetically sealed 20 mil piece of plastic?
This is the issue. They used a certain covering I know you don't like.
Look, I've got nothing against painter's plastic that's thinner than a mill. I just don't think that the plastic, that fin, should serve as the only dividers between a neuro massage room.
I totally agree. The painter's plastic gets all gooey.
Odd. Why would a sandwich go to a neuro massage clinic?
Somebody's gotta oil me up. Lunch meats and lettuce don't last forever.
I'm literally dying of anticipation. What is used to cover those tested toilet plungers that don't exactly smell like candles?
Get this. Are you sitting down?
Yeah, and you can see me. I am.
They bought 10 of them. They use 5 ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon to cover the cooked pastas and miserly cakes. They used the other 5 to cover the toilet-tested plungers. Within a week, they mixed up the ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon. On Tuesday, I saw little bits of toilet paper and ever-growing berber toupee that covered the miserly cakes. I complained. Big time.
Did they rectify the situation?
They said no biggie. They just tampooned the new nylon growth off, and there wouldn't be any germs.
Wouldn't it have been cheaper to use a piece of plastic?
I understood the expenses for the ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon. It was a good idea. By less product, the toupee grows by itself.
Whoa, let's take a step back. Why would an ever-growing berber toupee that is actually nylon be used to cover weird-shaped pastas and cakes lacking ingredients?
Not the weird-shaped pastas.
Well, if you don't tampoon the toupees 16 times a day, there's gonna be a forced within a half a year.
Right. But they need a lot of square inches of product to cover their products.
You know what I'm thinking right now? I'd like to cover you with saran wrap. Bet you couldn't talk then.
You do a thing like that? Cover me in saran wrap. Preserve me forever. Wow, I didn't know you thought so highly of my lettuce.
I think you misunderstood. I'd get out of this quagmire involving ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon and tested toilet plungers.
The book showed they bought 10 ordinary berber toupees that are actually nylon. No particular pattern, just ordinary. Orange berber. Total costs $291,375 without tax, shipping, or special handling, which runs another $15,000 per unit when shipped to California.
Oh my, this raises an issue I'm just finding out about. The most basic model, although a very popular color, that orange, is going for $29,375. What a waste of money for that. You could probably bribe your kid into a state college.
Do you see any hair on this sandwich? The thought did cross my mind. I wanted the green moss-styled ever-growing berber toupee. Actually, that one might be polyester. She goes for $41,968.83. I didn't have the bread.
Seems like you've got the bread 6 feet tall on each side.
At first, the toupees grew and grew and grew. Nobody used the complimentary tampoons. Well, one guy was going to use it to perform an abortion, but then he found out his wife wasn't really pregnant.
Is there any documented evidence a tampoon has ever been used to perform an abortion? Or is that just some asinine marketing claim Myron Alfombra pronounced matting but spelled M&M made before he got tight doing the 3-plug trim for that squatter in the White House?
Easy. You're gonna lose Ben Shapiro's listeners.
Nah, they revel in all political jokes. Those people live and breathe opinion, politics, and humor as outrageous as I can't say. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC. When we come back, we're going to find out what diabolical plot Myron Alfombra is involved in now.
in love with you. You've got lettuce and tomatoes too. Mayonnaise and cheese.
Drunk in love.
Talk Radio 790, KABC. You're listening to Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show, and I am Karl Gerber, and we've got a sandwich in the studio. Well, Sandwich, do you have anything to say?
Is the air in Bellflower was so polluted we had to cover the Miserly Cakes in weird-shaped pastas?
I'm not an expert on air quality control. I do, however, know global warming is a hoax, just like that thing about how we had a man on the white thing that looks like a piece of cheese.
You mean the moon? I've been there. I go there all the time. You see this dust on the bottom of my loaf? That's moon dust.
Thanks for dragging in toxic moon dust. We might need an ever-growing Berber toupee that's actually nylon to cover the microphones here.
10 toupees grew a lot. We don't need any more. We were able to cover all of production. About 400,000 Miserly Cakes a day, lots of weird-shaped pasta, and a few Tested Toilet Plungers.
That's a lot of Miserly Cakes.
They are, after all, quite miserly.
What happened next? They hired a third shift of toilet plunger testers?
No, a second shift. But the real thing I want to say is I noticed accounting book entries for more ever-growing Berber toupees that are actually nylon.
Well, that's not unusual. They're traded like commodities on the commodities market.
They are, but they were accounted for as actually being purchased and delivered.
Well, how many ever-growing Berber toupees that are actually nylon are we talking about?
16,197 in February, 160,999 in March. That's where I made inquiries.
I've never heard of Miserly Cakes and pastas. Are they big enough for that quantity?
That's what I wondered. We are talking about 4.829970 billion in orders.
There's no way a company that small could pay almost $5 billion 1 month for ever-growing Berber toupees that are actually nylon.
That's right. But what's even more glaring is 160,999 ever-growing Berber toupees. That much growth might not even fit in the whole county of Los Angeles. 169,999 ever-growing Berber toupees would send the county into a panic.
Oh, that's a very good point. God, what if Myron Alfombra, pronounced Manning but spelled M&M, did a shipment like that to a foreign power?
If 160,999 units went to, say, North Korea, they'd have to be high-rise hairstyles, but 160,999 units growing without being tampooned for a day is probably 4 inches per unit. 1 foot in 3 days. That's 160,999 feet in 3 days. The entire county could be shut down very quickly if they weren't tampooning.
Indeed, and if you multiplied that by 10, we're talking about 1.6 million feet of growth in 3 days. You know what that means?
Uncontrollable growth!
What did you say to your employer about all these book entries?
Well, I went right to the owner of the company and said the accounting books showed 160,999 ever-growing Berber toupees that were actually nylon, paid for and shipped to Miserly Cakes and pastas. You know what he said?
I must know.
He said I must be mistaken.
Were you?
Look here. I have a copy of the ledger, but there's more.
Just seeing these figures on this piece of paper, it sends shivers down my spine.
I heard it. I heard it.
What did you hear? Homeless people having sex in a deserted roadside motel around Route 66?
Yeah, that too. But I heard the owner of Miserly Cakes and Pastas on the phone with Myron Alfombra, pronounced Matting, but spelled M-N-M.
What was said? What was said?
Biz, bell, biz.
Biz, bell, biz? What does that mean?
Collusion! Collusion!
Well, whose definition of collusion is biz, bell, biz?
I just know.
Did you actually hear what Myron Alfombra, pronounced Manning but spelled M&M, said to the owner of Miserly Cakes and Pastas?
I thought I did. Maybe I did.
Well, this is anticlimactic.
I almost heard their second conversation. I was making myself a sandwich.
You eat yourself?
Do you know how many? I can't say who wants to do that to themselves.
Pink roses!
I heard Alfombra say some guy named Barr would travel to Bellflower and make a secret payment to Miserly Cakes and Pastas this past Thursday. It would look like a big plunger order, or $5 bill. The money would then go to a Russian cement and steel company.
Oh, weird. Just plain weird.
I went right into the owner's office, flapped my buns, stuck out my salami, and said, "You and Myron Alfombra pronounce matting, but spelled M&M are up to no good." That's when I blew the whistle around my neck.
Impressive. You properly complained about an illegality, although you failed to mention what illegality was transpiring.
But I blew the whistle.
Well, physically blowing a whistle could put your employer on notice you're making a public policy complaint about their legal conduct, I guess.
The owner pointed a gun at me. I swear on a stick of tomatoes, that's when I sprayed him with mustard.
Did you get fired for that?
No. He offered me shredded lettuce.
This keeps getting more intriguing.
I swear, on a stick of onions, not one single ever-growing berber toupee that is actually nylon showed up after the initial 10 came in.
What do you think we're on to?
I am certain the $5 billion is for a large steel and cement object. I don't know where or why. Since you're a concrete man, I thought maybe you've heard something in the trade.
I'll make some inquiries and try to find out if somebody is trying to short the concrete market or there's going to be a super pour, even bigger than the one with the Korean hotel, and it was built in downtown Los Angeles, which is the tallest building, and subsequently was the largest concrete pour ever.
Do you know Cindy D?
Yeah, she's so pretty.
And the same person as Mistress Lubov.
They've both been on this show.
Can you see if her husband, C-Mex, has any intelligence on an order for $5 billion in concrete?
Oh, of course, I'll get right on it, especially if this is some diabolical scheme of Myron Alfombra, pronounced matting but spelled M&M.
This is on a very high level, probably an attempt to disturb the democratic world order as we know it, bring upon a constitutional crisis.
Yes, I do feel that ever-growing nylon is onto something diabolical.
I stuck around for another week before they threatened to eat me, and I had to quit.
Did you tell them why you were quitting?
A, I told them I wasn't about to get eaten. B, go to jail for being the certified public sandwich signing off on their books.
Good. You let them know with the illegal conditions you were exposed to. This could be a good forced to quit case.
I might sue, but there are bigger pepperoncinis at hand. What was your theory on those 160,999 ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon?
Well, they could be weapons of mass destruction if they're left to grow without being tampumed.
It would take a workplace larger than Dell's 145,000 to keep those toupees trimmed.
Is there any evidence the 160,999 were shipped anywhere?
I don't know. Governor Newsom did declare a state of emergency and call for a cease and desist order of those things being shipped to California. That's the other thing. I knew Miserly Cakes and Pastas could never accept the order.
You do some checking on where the 160,999 products might be. I'll check around the concrete and steel communities. Let's meet back here tomorrow at lunch. Bring pasta, nothing weird shaped. I usually have a sandwich for lunch, but on account of you being there, I'll refrain.
Biz bell biz. I am on it.
Okay, people, this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. We were kind of talking about wrongful termination and being forced to quit. You're supposed to let your employer know of the illegal conditions. And if you do and you're fired for that, that's a whistleblower. If you quit after complaining about intolerable working conditions, such as fraud or maybe a plot of your employer to overthrow the government, that could be constructive wrongful termination. So if you have a real wrongful termination or constructive wrongful termination case, I'd like to hear from you at 877-525-0700. Sometimes termination cases are whistleblowing. Sometimes are about discrimination or a right somebody has exercised, or maybe even being a witness in an investigation about sexual harassment, and you're fired for what you said. So if that's the case, call me at 877-525-0700. In the meantime, I encourage you to go to the Karl Gerber, it's Karl with a K, YouTube channel, or anywhere that you listen to your sound sharing stuff, iTunes, whatever. You can catch up on the old episodes. Myron Alfombra, pronounced Manning, but spelled Eminem. We've talked about him a lot on the show. He is our villain, and maybe the hero sandwich can help us. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful week at work and don't suffer too much workplace abuse. Listen next Sunday from 7 to 8 on this station. This is Talk Radio 790 KBC.